Mr Chair, thank you very much. It's a privilege to make a contribution in this Appropriations 2014-15 Confirmation Validation Bill and participate in this annual review debate. Focusing on the finance and government administration sector. Sir, can I just make a comment around what the Minister said around, and it's great that the Minister supports his tax officials to ensure that the advice that they give him, that he endorses and follows. It seems to me that if the Minister has that commitment, I wish other members of that side, the government benches, particularly Minister Brownlee, would also take on some of the advice that officials give. You can't have it both ways, Mr Chair. But look, that's for another time. Sir, my contribution I want to focus on the Department of Internal Affairs, particularly around local government. Before I get there, it's important that we do look at I guess challenge this government's perception of being very good fiscal managers. And fiscal managers, sir, is not only what you do with the money, but obviously what results you gain from the money. And so, if I may, I'd like to do a bit of a stock take on the status of this government when it comes to being prudent financial managers. And I note, sir, that government borrowing is forecast to be not at 50 billion, not at 100 billion, but 116 billion, sir, the highest that we have ever seen. According to the Crown's own accounts, we are looking at a core Crown debt of 1.7 billion higher than forecasted for February this year. And we also note, sir, that 51 billion of our debt is now held overseas, obviously creating a very strategic risk to our economy. Sir, this has increased by more than 30 billion since National came to power. So I challenge the government when the members have got up and talked about how well and proud they are of this government. With that debt overhanging us, the fact that half of it is overseas, I think it does expose this country to major risk. The second part, sir, was around what's been achieved. And let's have a look at what has been achieved. There has been, and I will give credit to the government, there's been a surplus up until February this year, but we have to say whether that's been achieved through underspends in education, justice, transport, and of course the Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority, sir. Our regions are struggling. And as the proud member of Ikaroa Rāwhiti, I see it every day when I'm out and about in my electorate. In fact, sir, when I came in 2013, the Minister of Economic Development plan for raising regional prosperity in Ikaroa Rāwhiti were two things. One, go and explore for oil, and the other one was cycle trails. Sir, our economy is much more diverse than that, and we do need government attention if we're going to realise opportunities for people throughout Ikaroa Rāwhiti. We still have family and children in poverty, and there's definitely a shortage of decent housing for all family throughout my electorate, sir. But it is actually what I said in the opening. I want to turn for the time I've got on local government. And when I look at the Statement of Intent of Internal Affairs, it talks about improving the efficiency of the local government system through completion of better local government reforms programs. And specifically, Mr Chair, I want to highlight two of those services that talk about how this is going to be achieved. One is council-led reorganisations. And sir, we've got a classic example happening right now with a body in my electorate, Hawke's Bay Regional Investment Company, who shows all the bad sides of what a CCO is capable of. Removed from the owners, Hawke's Bay Regional Council, defiant in the face of ratepayers, invested $6 million into a scheme that hasn't measured up in terms of the Ruataniwha Dam. And all I say to the Minister, when we are talking about doing more CCOs, I encourage him to look at the performance of the Hawke's Bay Regional Investment Council, what's happened in Kaipara with the wastewater. There are many examples, Minister, for us to ensure that we don't go down the track that some of these CCOs are presently experiencing. The other one, sir, was the note of the Local Government Commission. And I again implore the Minister to ensure that when we are giving more powers to an unelected body, that they are adding value to the local government sector, and I'm not sure whether the Minister has that quite down pat.
Paul Foster.